Let's take a second right now to have a moment of silence for Washington Mystics owner Shelly Johnson, who suggested that the WNBA as a whole should have been on the cover of Time magazine instead of just Caitlin Clark.
2 months apart, two statements, one glaring contradiction. Washington Mystics owner Sheila Johnson dismissed Caitlin Clark's Athlete of the Year honor, arguing the entire WNBA deserved recognition. But now, her own words are coming back to haunt her.
However, a lot of people are noticing the fact that we all remember Sheila Johnson, right? The Mystics owner that went on CNN that was none too pleased about Caitlin Clark having received the Time Magazine Athlete of the Year. She made absurd comments.
But actions speak louder than words. Sheila Johnson, who downplayed Caitlin Clark's impact on the WNBA, just made a move that tells a completely different story, and the basketball world is buzzing. The same owner who insisted the league's success isn't just about Clark is now making business decisions that prove otherwise. The numbers behind her latest move are undeniable, and there's one major award where Johnson's silence spoke volumes. We've got all the receipts. Let's break it down.
Caitlin Clark was named Athlete of the Year. Why couldn't they have put the whole WNBA on that cover and said, the WNBA is the league of the year because of all the talent that we have?
Remember when a WNBA owner took a public shot at the biggest sensation the league has seen in years? That's exactly what happened when Washington Mystics owner Sheila Johnson criticized Caitlin Clark's *Time*, Athlete of the Year honor during a CNN interview.
It has taken the WNBA almost 28 years to get to the point where we are now. And this year, something clicked with the WNBA, and it's because of the draft of the players that came in. It's just not Caitlin Clark. It's Reese. We have so much talent out there that has been unrecognized. And I don't think we can just pin it on one player.
Let's break down what Sheila Johnson actually said because it speaks volumes. She'd argued that instead of honoring Caitlin Clark individually, *Time* should have recognized the entire WNBA. Think about that for a second. An award meant to celebrate a single standout athlete should have somehow been shared among more than 100 players. Does that logic really add up?
Because when you just keep singling out one player, it creates hard feelings.
This raises an important question. Was Sheila Johnson truly concerned about team recognition, or was there another motive behind her comments? But she didn't stop there. She went even further, suggesting that race played a role in Caitlin Clark's recognition. I feel really bad because I've seen so many players of color who are just as talented and never got the recognition they deserved, Johnson said. With that statement, she shifted the conversation from a debate about individual versus collective recognition to something far more divisive.
There has been, this phrase has been couched, hasn't it? The Caitlin Clark effect. Why do you think that has been the case?
Well, I want to be very diplomatic about this. It's just the structure of the way media plays out race. I'm going to be very honest. I feel really bad because I've seen so many players of color that are equally as talented, and they never got the recognition that they should have. And I think right now, it is time for that to happen.
What makes Johnson's criticism even more baffling is how it ignores the undeniable impact Caitlin Clark has had on the league. The numbers paint a clear picture, one that's impossible to argue with. When the Fever played the Mystics last season, Johnson's own team drew crowds averaging around 20,000 fans. But when other teams came to town, attendance barely hit 5,000. That's not just a small boost. It's a massive shift in fan engagement.
Caitlin has brought a ton of new opportunity, a ton of new eyeballs, and more money to the sport. So instead of downplaying the magnitude of who she is and what she's brought, enjoy the ride and take advantage of the ride.
Clark's impact goes far beyond just filling arenas. Her presence in the league led to a threefold increase in attendance for Fever games across the board. Jersey sales? They skyrocketed by an astonishing 1,000%. These aren't just impressive stats. They're game-changing numbers that prove how one player can elevate the entire league's visibility and financial success.
While the NBA's ratings continue to drop, over 30%, as they try to figure out who is going to fill the shoes of LeBron James, Kevin Durant, and Steph Curry. The WNBA has a golden goose sitting in their league and has done, it's gotten better, but has done everything to kind of discredit the momentum and eyeballs she's brought to this game.
You know what's most telling in all of this? Caitlin Clark's response. Instead of clapping back or getting caught up in drama, she took the high road. In her *Time* magazine interview, Clark focused on mutual respect among players and shut down any talk of jealousy in the league. No defensiveness, no counterattacks, just quiet confidence in her own journey.
Caitlin is someone who has, if you look at it, done everything you're supposed to do and has been criticized along every step of the way. Again, she's damned if she does, and she's damned if she doesn't.
The contrast between Johnson's remarks and Clark's response says it all. One tried to downplay an individual achievement and frame it as problematic, while the other responded with grace, refusing to be dragged into division. So, was Johnson's criticism really about team unity and fair recognition, or was it the beginning of a pattern, one that would only become harder to ignore as time went on?
I mean, honestly, we know how this owner feels about Caitlin Clark. Let us not forget this.
That pattern became impossible to ignore when A'ja Wilson was recently named one of *Time's Women of the Year. Suddenly, Johnson's passionate stance about recognizing the entire league vanished, faster than playoff tickets at Capital One Arena. Where was all that concern about hard feelings now that Caitlin Clark wasn't the one in the spotlight? *Time* honored Wilson for her incredible impact on women's basketball, placing her in the exact same position Clark had been in just months earlier, an individual player being recognized for her achievements. This was the perfect moment for Johnson to stand by her supposed principles of team recognition over individual accolades. But this time, silence.
Time magazine backed themselves into a confusing corner with their latest blunder. This is a Whiskey Riff right here. When they crowned their Athlete of the Year last year, they did the right thing by giving the title to Indiana Fever star Caitlin Clark. Surprisingly, there was some backlash to the decision, which is absurd, with many in the WNBA saying the award should have been given to the entire league instead of just Clark.
But this time, she didn't say a word. No CNN interview, no passionate plea for *Time* to recognize the entire WNBA instead of just A'ja Wilson. Nothing. The silence from the Mystics owner was deafening, and it spoke volumes about what was really behind her previous criticism. Remember those concerns about creating hard feelings when individual players received special recognition? Apparently, those concerns have an expiration date, or maybe they were never genuine to begin with. Wilson's honor was the exact situation Johnson claimed to have a problem with, yet somehow, her principles disappeared overnight.
The Mystics owner went on CNN and was like, I think it would have been nice if they'd have put the entire league on the front cover of Time magazine as Athlete of the Year. Well, there wasn't but one athlete that was moving all the numbers. All right, that was influencing all the money. Gate revenue, attendance, ratings, all the stuff we've talked about, right? There's only one. Right, wrong, or indifferent, just one. Plays in Indiana, wears 22, right?
This glaring double standard didn't go unnoticed. WNBA player Lexa Brown publicly called it out, posting, "Can we please stop taking steps backwards?" Her frustration echoed what many players were thinking. If the concern was really about fairness and team unity, why did it only come up when Caitlin Clark was in the spotlight? Unlike Johnson's earlier claims about players resenting individual recognition, A'ja Wilson's honor was widely celebrated across the league. Players supported her, not resented her. The contrast made one thing clear. Johnson's original argument wasn't about protecting team unity, it was about who was receiving the recognition. This was the perfect moment for Johnson to prove her convictions, to stand by her claim that individual awards diminish collective success. Instead, she chose silence. And that silence spoke louder than any of her past words.
People, keep in mind, this is a business. When Nike signs an athlete, Okay, they want to get an ROI, return on their investment. How do they do that? Because that athlete resonates. You understand that Caitlin Clark, her jerseys, her apparel, if she has an apparel deal, her shoes will sell.
Let's be real. If Sheila Johnson truly believed individual awards created division in women's basketball, she would have reacted the same way to both honors. But she didn't. She spoke out against Caitlin Clark's recognition while staying completely silent about A'ja Wilson's. That's not just hypocrisy, that's selective outrage. And that selectivity says a lot. When two superstars receive nearly identical awards just months apart, yet a team owner only takes issue with one of them, this isn't about principles anymore, it's about targeting. So here's the real question. Why is Johnson specifically going after Clark? Let us know your thoughts in the comments.
The Mystics were moving the two games that were coming to their town with Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever. They were moving them to Baltimore. All right. Now, in case you're wondering, that Mystics home arena that they play on normally and brag about selling it out is only 4,200 fans. I mean, come on. 4,200 fans, right?
Johnson's team over individual stance lasted exactly as long as it took to count potential ticket sales. Behind the scenes, she quietly made a major move, relocating Fever games from a 4,200-seat arena to one that holds 14,000. In that moment, the mask of principled leadership slipped, revealing something much more transparent, a business decision that directly contradicted everything she claimed to stand for.
Caitlin Clark comes to town, they move it to a 14,000-seat arena. I mean, that's nearly, what is that? That's nearly 10,000 more fans.
Johnson's latest move made one thing clear: her actions speak louder than her words. The Washington Mystics announced they would be relocating their home games against the Indiana Fever to CFG Bank Arena in Baltimore. But this wasn't just any venue upgrade. It was a massive leap, more than tripling capacity from the modest 4,200-seat entertainment and sports arena to a nearly 14,000-seat facility. What makes this decision so revealing isn't just the move itself, it's the selective reasoning behind it. Johnson didn't announce a permanent relocation to a larger venue for all Mystics games. She didn't even choose multiple matchups against other top teams. Instead, this change was aimed at one specific opponent, the Indiana Fever. Yes, the same team featuring the very player Johnson claimed wasn't solely responsible for the WNBA's skyrocketing popularity.
Means the gate prices, all right, the gate prices for the game will actually go up. In other words, just like that preseason game, they has got tickets for $4,500. A run-of-the-mill game like this, even we all know Caitlin Clark tickets are expensive.
The financial impact of this move is impossible to ignore. With nearly 10,000 extra seats per game, many likely sold at premium prices, the revenue potential is massive. Even with a conservative estimate, these Fever matchups could generate millions in additional ticket sales alone. And who's driving this surge? The very player Johnson tried to downplay.
The amount of money it will cost to get into this game, she may end up lining her own pockets with more money because the gate prices may go way up, and she's going to force Caitlin Clark fans to pay additional money to get into the game by putting in a bigger but not as big venue.
Basketball fans wasted no time calling out the contradiction. Social media lit up with reactions pointing out the glaring disconnect between Johnson's words and actions. One fan didn't hold back. Asterisk, wasn't this the same owner who downplayed Caitlin Clark's impact? Now she's cashing in on ticket sales. Asterisk, another asked. Asterisk, should the Mystics move all their games there? Their owner didn't want to give Caitlin any credit for growing the game, but she's happy to profit off her. But perhaps the most cutting comment came from a fan who got straight to the point. Asterisk, wait. Why just the Fever games? Why not every game? Or are you choking on your words about the face of the league? These weren't just random internet critics. There were WNBA supporters who saw the hypocrisy loud and clear. Johnson had criticized individual recognition, that she had no problem cashing in on the star power of one individual player.
This year, something clicked in the WNBA because of the draft and the players that came in. It's not just Caitlin Clark. Yes, it is. You telling me somebody spending $4,500 for an Angel Reese game? Get the bleep out of here. Yeah, the mother bleep out of here. It's Angel Reese. She continued. We have so much talent out there that has been unrecognized, and I don't think we can pin it on just one player.
If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel, because here you'll get explosive updates.